In this Debt Clock Secret Revealed video, we're going to be talking about a pill that is too easy to swallow. And there's many people that are swallowing it every single day in this country and around the world. Let's explore! In this series, The Debt Clock Secret Revealed, we are now backtracking and capturing some of the earlier messages that have been archived, and some of them we've missed, some of them are gone forever. So what I aim to do is try to capture every single one from here on out. And in this video here, we're going back and capturing some of these old messages here, and we can see where the debt was back in early November of 2023. And it's $33.7 trillion in this message here. And I think this is a good precursor. We're doing these in pairs now. But here, and this is the message that we can see with an old painting here from the classics. But just as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. You know, the coming in the like a thief in the night. But there are warning signs, and we must look at the warnings and what's coming. We must be prepared, and I think that's what the overall message here that could be sent to both believers and maybe even unbelievers alike, because there's a lot of things we can do to prepare. And the way the world is going, especially with our monetary system in this country and just the overall economy, who knows what can come down the pike. And there's a lot of things that tell us that we're heading for, well, potentially disaster if we're not careful. And so we must be prepared. And one way to be prepared is to think for ourselves and to be educated in such a way. And that brings us to the next message in the debt clock. Here we can see it's $33.706 trillion, and the message that came out just days later here. And this is another conversation. This is actually the second conversational cartoon by the Debt Clock people, and it's called Self-Reliant Disorder. Yes, indeed. And it's coming from DS Schools. Now, I theorize that DS means district schools. I do mention the word district here, but then that would be redundant to say DS schools, districts, district schools. So I'm not sure what that S could stand for. This little icon here should give us a clue as to what it is, but I have no idea what that little icon is. So maybe, again, some of you can interpret this. We're not sure, but it's a conversation between two individuals here. And it is a teacher that is going to be teaching about self-reliant thinking here. And really, self-reliant thinking and by the culture of today would be considered a disorder. Yes, indeed. So class, today I'm going to talk about self-reliant thinking and how we plan to cope with it. That's right. You got to cope with self-reliant thinking. That's for sure. And there's only one medicine for it. And, you know, so you got a fire extinguisher there putting out the fire of self-reliant thinking. You've heard the phrase, the fire in the belly. Well, that's exactly what this is about here. And they want to squash that. And then the student says, is that where a kid thinks for himself and is not manipulated by the state-run Orwellian learning factory? And we can see that state-run Orwellian learning factory, which is exactly what we're involved in today, is associated more with communism, as we can see here by the sickle and hammer. And that is not an exaggeration, folks. That's exactly where we are headed. That's exactly what's being taught, especially with the 1619 Project, all the DEI and ESG that's involved in corporate media, which is directly influenced and comes right back down to how the education system is in this country. And I tell you what, when I was a kid, it was considered, to be rebellious and to question things. Hey, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't question some things, but it's actually really good to question everything, even the very existence of God. God is not mocked if you question him. That's for sure. Nothing wrong with questioning, because that's part of what learning is about. but I'm jumping ahead here in this message. But so the teacher says, exactly. It's the scourge in public education, and we're doing everything that we can to combat it, and that is to think for yourself. And, they don't like it when you think for yourself, that's for sure. And so you can here's a school building, and they are really bringing a sword to it. And you look at where they want to send us in this country, to the point where you do anything against it, where they gaslight you and say, well, you want to ban books in school. Well, I tell you what, look at the books that they have in there that they're instilling to indoctrinate our kids. And it's like the case where, can you imagine if you had a magazine in school, a porn magazine or something to that effect? That's essentially what they're saying, that should be allowed in schools. So your third grader has a Hustler magazine sitting on his desk on top of his textbooks. Well, by golly, they better not ban that, right? It's just a ridiculous nature of where we are. And so they are doing everything to combat it and to indoctrinate our kids. And over-sexualize them, and to spread the message that a certain class of people are better than others and are justified and deserve reparations and the like. And this is where they pit us against each other by social, economic, and identity classes. And that's not the way this country was founded upon by any stretch. But anyways, the student says, it seems to me that you should be encouraging students to think this way. That's right. So, indoctrination has begun. And so the teacher says, you've just proven my point. The district wants every student to take this blue pill every day to stop the spread of the dangerous free-thinking plague. So you take that pill and swallow that pill every single day. And that's exactly what's happening in this country. And it's been going on for a while. It's just now it's become overt, overly overt, to be redundant, because I've seen it throughout my education journey. And looking back now, we can see indoctrination has been there for a while. It's just been exacerbated. Think about like a snowball rolling down a hill. You have to push the snowball. It's too small. But once you gather enough snow around it, gravity takes over, and it just increases in size as it goes down the hill, becomes a juggernaut. And so the student asks, well, what does the pill do? A good question. It's a breakthrough medication that destroys the student's desire to resist authority, and it's a great aid in preparing you for a lifetime of submission. And that's what they want. That's really what it's about. It's about one word: submission. Submit to the state. If they do that, then they've got you. So that is the latest in the debt clock secret messages of going back and backtracking anyway. It's not the latest, but it's the latest in the update here. This is what we do here. Let me know what your thoughts are on this installment. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.